Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the GamePodular Unfocused podcast. I am your host, Scott, and with me, as always, is Seskra. How you holding up, Seskra?
I'm doing good. Lots of things outside the podcast that have been very busy, but paying off dividends. And in terms of actual playing games themselves, also been making good progress and having a good time with it all. I just wish that the weather could pick a lane and stick with it. I told I told you this just before it started, but I'm in a country so tiny you could I'm pretty sure you could fit it inside of Rhode Island, and yet we had 30 degrees in one city, 30 degrees Celsius, and frost in another. And I'm just that's not allowed.
Illegal.
If you want a difference that big, you need a distance that's bigger. That's not okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, been doing very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, all right. The weather's been pretty cold at the moment now. Being a bit wet last couple of weeks. I've not dreading, but sort of not looking forward to tomorrow. Got to go to the dentist, get a couple of fillings. That's always not fun.
Which kind of filling? Like raspberry or whipped cream? What kind of fillings are we talking about?
I mean, if I could get a blueberry one, that'd be great. But I don't think they'll allow that. I think it'll make it worse, unfortunately.
Shame.
Yeah. But that's how it is when you're getting older.
Hi there, kids. How are you doing?
How do you do, fellow kids? And speaking of all the cool things that the kids love, we've got a Patreon. Patreon.com/GamePodular. You can throw us a couple of dollars if you can. Just make sure you're always taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And you're also able to put through a couple of ones at Ko-fi.com/GamePodular. I'll remind everyone, we do have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/@GamePodular. We are slowly looking to get back into. I know Hilka and Rosalie have been playing some stuff, which would be fantastic. If you want to catch the replay of those, you can catch those at youtube.com/@GamePodular. And if you're just looking for the highlights, you can do that at youtube.com/@GamePodular stream highlights. I'll also remind everyone, we do have a lively Discord community. All show notes and all the information can be found at the great website, GamePodular.com. All right, let's see what we've been playing throughout this month.
The answer might shock you.
So the first game that I've been playing, funny enough, is High on Life. This was released back in 2020. Released on Windows and Xbox in 2020, end of 2022, and then half a year later on the PlayStation. I remember that because it was initially a sort of a Xbox exclusive,
which is a rare phrase nowadays.
Well, they're trying to backtrack on that. Let's see how that goes. I've actually been playing this on the actual Switch 2, and also apparently it was released first on Switch 1. Yeah, so this is a game. This is made by Squanch Games. This is sort of in line with the sort of creators behind this sort of the Rick and Morty and the Solar Opposites.
Mm-hmm.
Remember there was one they also did. That's the one that's on Disney Plus. Yeah, so this is pretty much a first person shooter, sort of set within an alien environment. You start off on Earth with your sister, sort of a teenage, like sort of bratty teenagers. Then an alien version comes around by the G3 cartel. And apparently the main purpose is that humans are used as drugs.
Lovely.
That yes. So that's an interesting storyline. Along the way, you notice a sort of a creature on the ground. You pick it up. It's speaking a really weird language. It spits on you, and it turns out that this is what's called a Gatligan called Kenny, voiced by Justin Roiland. And the idea this is actually acts as this character acts as your weapon. So you defeat the aliens. You defeat the spaceships and the aliens, and then your home is transported actually into Blim City, an alien metropolis. The idea is that with this is that you essentially become a bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very interesting premise. The world environments sort of a take into tree what sort of realism with the humans, but sort of out there, somewhat out there, alien creatures. I say that in like for your main sort of like your bosses, the main cast, they're very unique. With your NPCs around, so your bog standard NPC around, there's sort of a set template. But it is a lovely community. The idea with this game is that pretty much like a first-person shooter, you go around trying to hunt down certain bounties. I believe the first bounty is a creature called there's a creature called Nine Torg, voiced by Jennifer Hale.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find a character that isn't voiced by someone you've heard of. This game has a more impressive cast list than a lot of movies I've seen.
Yes. Yeah. This is very much into voice acting. It's funny, actually with Nine Torg, apparently the Nine Torg is a clone, and apparently I have to believe that the Nine Torg is the evil clone, and so I think you're set up by Ten Torg, who tells you you need to defeat Nine Torg, and once you defeat them, it turns out that Ten Torg is still evil, but just not as evil as Nine Torg. So yeah, they'll be less evil throughout throughout when they are taking over the level that you just beaten. But no, it's ascended. Gameplay wise, it's interesting. All the because you get as you're going throughout the game, you get new weapons. You'll get so once you get, I've got a Gus. This is so here's the thing. These weapons are voiced. So Gus is voiced by JB Smooth. There's another character I've just gotten called Squeezy, voiced by Betsy Serrato. Apparently there's another one called Creature, who is voiced by Tim Robertson from I think you should leave fame. Very, very excited to finally get my hands on them. With those weapons is that they do have infinite ammunition. There is a reload function, but yeah, it's sort of gunfight wise, you're sort of put down and sort of arena, somewhat of an arena shooter, sort of a gauntlet style. So you defeat the enemies, and then you sort of continue on. Sort of I would say more in kit to like Doom 2016 rather than Doom Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too much, just ebb and flow. So I would say, so Kenny is a standard pistol shooter who's also got a second ability where you can actually sort of lob not a grenade, not a actual exploding grenade, but sort of lob like spit basically. You use those to push enemies up. It's got a countdown timer, but also you can use use that ability to get through certain certain walls. There'll be sections where you have to hit it, and the wall will just go on the other side. Gus is sort of actually as your shotgun. He's pretty cool because he actually when you hold in the left trigger, he has a suck ability, so you can get enemies towards you. So it helps out with that. And then I've just gotten Squeezy. They act more like a needler from Halo, but they've also got sort of like slow down time abilities and a charge abilities, which you can actually, if you shoot an enemy with the standard ammunition and then you attack with the charge weapon, they sort of explode.
Lovely combo.
I gotta say, yeah, the humor in this game, like, okay, I've never really been much into the sort of Rick and Morty humor.
Me neither, to be honest.
Yeah, it's look, I understand what the humor's trying to do. Like it's trying to be, we understand we're sort of like in a video game. It's like, oh, that's a weird thing. You have to push this button. Oh, that's a weird thing. You have to do it this way. Why do you have to do it this way? Why can't you just easily do it this? Like this. Actually, there's one section where there's a child that comes out here who goes, oh, you're not going to shoot me. You're not going to shoot me. And then you and it's if you do shoot the child, or if you don't, you continue on. Then you'll see its mother say, "Oh, thank you for not shooting my child. I know he always annoys people, but just thank you for not shooting him." That sort of humor, yeah. But then it sort of continues on, like the character will continue talking, and at that stage, the mother would just say, "You know what? It's fine if you actually shoot the child. I don't care." It's sort of the humor that says drones on a little bit, and sort of when you enter sort of like a cartoon, like sort of 22-minute cartoon, you can let those linger on for a little bit, but because it's sort of in a video game where it's just like one character's just talking all the time, it's like I've gotten stages like I've had characters talk for like a good solid 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm reminded of Borderlands the Pre-Sequel, which is a game I want to like, but the comedy conversations between NPCs go on for so long that, like, if you're playing it co-op, it becomes genuinely hard to coordinate what you're doing without talking over, like, the conversations that are happening, and it's like, initially, it's not too bad. Initially, it's funny, but after like half an hour of it, it starts to wear on you.
Yeah, that's sort of exactly, and sort of why I like Gus the shotgun. For the fact that he is a shotgun that can suck enemies in, but also the fact that I don't have to listen to Kenny Justin Roiler's character. Oh, I cannot stand. We all know what's happened, what Justin Roiler did. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah. We're not fans of him, to be clear.
Exactly. Yeah, like the character, the guns will talk. There is apparently a slider in the actual settings where you can actually tone it down, which is good. But it's sort of, like it's sort of, it's got that sense of humor, that sort of deprecating humor. But yeah, at the moment now, I've been enjoying myself. The movement, you sort of get abilities where you have a dash abilities, and this one you actually have a dash ability you can slide around, so it's easy to get around in the area. And I've just gotten the jetpack ability.
We love a good jetpack.
Going around there. Yeah, it's a fairly good jetpack, I'll gotta say. The environments are very lush. You'll get like your weird alien forests, like deep, dirty alien mines. The visual style is really good. I just played a little bit on the actual Switch 1 on the Switch Lite, and for the small screen, it doesn't look too bad. Like a lot better on Switch 2 and like obviously on other machines. But yeah, I'm enjoying this one. Looking forward to this, and then it's also got it also comes with High on Knife. That's the one because you actually get a character that's a knife. voiced by Michael Cusack. They're the Pim from Smiling Friends.
Mm-hmm.
They also did Koala Man. I'm not really too like biased because I am Australian. I'm not really too in the whole Ocker, oh bloody hell,
Mm-hmm.
Ockerism of the Australian accent. But yeah, there's also a High on Knife DLC that's included with this Switch package, which is good. So I haven't played the main game yet. I haven't finished the main game yet, so once I do, I'll go to the DLC. But yeah, I've been having a good time. It generally goes on sale quite often. So yeah, I picked it up, and if you do pick it up for Switch, just know it comes with a Switch 2 version, which is good. So
Excellent.
yeah, very excellent. All right, so going from game your use in space, you've also been going a game called Airscape: The Fall of Gravity. Does the gravity actually fall?
There is a lot of gravity in falling, just not always in the direction you think. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Airscape Full of Gravity. It's a little indie game released like a decade ago. Checks notes. Yeah, actually a decade ago, 2015. You play as a cute little octopus who gets like he's just living his octopus life, doing his own thing, and then a very rude joyriding UFO comes along and just kind of hoovers up everybody with his big tractor beam,
Mm-hmm.
and you sort of get washed out again with a very cute little fishbowl on your head that works like a space helmet, and you just have to round up all the sea life that got sucked up and return them to the ocean in a cute little 2D puzzle platformer thingy. Is the pitch at the start. It starts very like quiet, charming, and puzzle focused, and eventually it becomes Super Meat Boy. I'm gonna just lead with that switch bait and switch right now because like I'm not saying either mode is bad. I am saying I you're probably gonna go into it expecting one of the two, and getting both in a set order was a bit of a surprise to me because I appreciate that game has a gentle difficulty curve, but I think it sort of sets the wrong expectation of what's to come, really. Because
Mm-hmm.
initially it's charming and soothing, and it feels akin to what would be a good example here. Like maybe something like Thomas Was Alone, albeit with like higher
Yep.
fidelity on the characters, although that's not hard. I dare say most games released in the last 40 years have higher fidelity than Thomas Was Alone, but so it starts out charming and quiet, and then difficulty ramps up a little bit, and it doesn't seem out of place just yet. And then at a certain point, you sort of say out loud to yourself, "Wait, this is a bullet hell level. When did we start doing bullet hell?"
Okay.
And then you start saying, "Wait, we have a homing missile turrets. When did it like? Wait, we have snipers now. Just snipers are now just a recurring thing in some levels, and they are harsh snipers. I need to make clear. Like if you literally if you stand still for more than one open brackets, one close brackets second, it just auto kills you.
Ah.
And why would you ever want to stand still, you might ask? Well, for one, because of the million other environmental hazards, which might actually require you to, take in your surroundings a little bit. And for two, this game starts, like, part of the reason it fakes you out is it starts out with a strong emphasis on gravity not behaving quite the way you expect it to. Like, the levels initially are like sort of little miniature planets where you're on a circle and down is always just towards the circle. And as you go on, the levels get wider and bigger, and exactly which way gravity pulls you starts getting funky, and it starts doing clever things like, oh, you can fall toward from one floating island to another, and each one has its own gravity, so it'll suck you to a new surface.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also swimming sections in floating blobs of water that also have their own gravity, and the gravities will switch between you are in water and you have just left water. Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying my best to convey this clearly to the people listening at home. The level has gravity, and each blob of water has gravity, which means you can jump out of a blob and immediately get pulled out of a direction you weren't jumping in because the level's own gravity is now pulling you away. And like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't unworkable, nor is it like random or unpredictable, but it is quite a lot to wrap your head around, which would be fine, except there is like time pressure so you don't die. And eventually the game even removes basic courtesies like being safe at the start of a level. At a certain point, it's just like, if you start the level, that means there is a James Bond laser coming towards you right now, and if you haven't moved after 3 seconds, it just kills you.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the whole observing your surroundings in order to like puzzle out what to do, does that element doesn't go away. You just start getting less and less time for it. It's still important. It's just the level design doesn't really support you taking your time for it, and that's why I feel like there's sort of like a real genre shift, because it starts out
Mm-hmm.
very puzzle and eventually becomes very reflex. I was very much reminded of like Xbox Live Arcade sort of era games, like Super Meat Boy, like Trials, like the Impossible games, things like that. Like,
Yeah.
and I do like those from time to time. Like, every once in a while, it's fun to really dig your teeth in and die a billion times, and eventually have that rush of excitement when you actually pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird that it's in the same game that spent 4 hours like taking my little octopus friend through like scenic meadows and woodlands. Like, it it doesn't feel balanced and mixed all the way through. I sort of feel like I feel like this game was supposed to be a salad dressing, but the oil and the vinegar have separated into two different components sort of floating on top of each other, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Also, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say it, the sniper sections are kind of miserable. Like, I made my way through the first couple, because I, wanted to give the mechanic time to, show me what it's got, how it works, see what I can work with. And my conclusion is it's workable. It's just miserable. These are like, this is a deep cut, but for the people who remember, this is the worst sniper section I've seen in a game since Bullet Witch, if you remember Bullet Witch. Shout out to the like 4 people who remember Bullet Witch. So you do get different octopuses. Well, I say you get them. Technically, I don't think it's mandatory. Um, but it's the way it works is like each level has a certain amount of sea life you can save, and you know, getting a couple is pretty easy. Getting all of them is a little, optional challenge kind of thing, and you need a certain number of them in order to get to the levels that unlock new octopuses. And some of them, like, you start with a very basic one, and then you get one that can like sort of do a Luigi hover. You get one that can do a little teleport dash. You get one that can like put the world in slow mo, and
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of fun, but they don't actually feel that distinctive. Everything, like, their one single gimmick doesn't actually feel super important or meaningful. Like, the game is clearly designed so that each octopus can beat every level, because you can, change them at will at the start of every level. So they've clearly designed it so that each one can, but like, it sort of just doesn't feel that special, and I found myself just defaulting to the teleport one a lot of the time, because that was by far the most efficient most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to like this game, but it feels it gets less satisfying as it goes on is sort of how I would describe it.
Mm.
Because as the difficulty ramps up and it starts doing things like, bullet hell and heat-seeking missiles and snipers, you need to get like tighter and more precise and carefully timed with all of your gameplay. The issue is there's I feel like the game itself isn't actually tight and precise as it wants me to be, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the control scheme you're given is adequate, but it doesn't actually feel as responsive and as tight as you really would want it to.
Mm. How
And
long do you, if
go
you
ahead.
don't mind asking, how long do these levels last?
That can vary a lot, because difficulty from level to level is not the best balanced either. I would say for a good stretch of the game, like a level will last you like 3 to 5 minutes, roughly, depending on difficulty and whether you want to get like
Oh,
all of the wildlife, sea life.
ah,
But
yeah.
sometimes you just hit a spike in a difficulty curve where uh, like one level will just kill you like 65 times and you're there for like 15 minutes.
Mm.
In fact,
Because I'm thinking,
like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
3.5 hours I have spent playing this game so far, I have already gotten the achievement for dying 500 times,
Mm-hmm.
which goes to show. And like that's not an evenly spread either. I'm pretty sure that like 400 out of those 500 deaths happened in like 3 specific levels.
Yeah. Because just
So
remembering back to like Super Meat Boy, I think one of the things I loved about that game, very tough, but it's just like the levels were just they were short to the
yes,
point.
yes.
Yeah.
And this game, like, it starts out short enough, but it creeps up as the difficulty creeps up, just because there's more things you won't immediately see coming. That's another side note. I would say a lot of the time the camera is zoomed in slightly too far. It's not heinous. It's not like Jazz Jacarette 1, where frankly it's too tight and you have like literally 6 frames of response time before something hits you. Uh, but it is closer than it really should be because you tend to move at pretty high speed in order to make certain jumps. And
Mm-hmm.
this is part of the like the game doesn't feel as tight as the tightness that it demands from the player kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm probably still gonna finish it to see, just sort of where we end up. And luckily, you do not need to do every level. You certainly don't need to do every level perfectly, but you don't even need to finish every level in order to beat the game. Thankfully, the way it works is it's just sort of tiered, where like you need to have rescued 8 bits of sea life in order to get this octopus, and then 15 for the next one, 30 for the next one. And so long as you do that, the game doesn't care what you do and don't do specifically. So I will
Mm-hmm.
probably finish this by just sort of choosing the levels that seem the most fair.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of says something that I'm describing the levels as either fair or not, as opposed to difficult or not, because there are just
Mm-hmm.
points where I feel it doesn't. Case in point, there are levels that will just soft lock you if you don't do certain things in a certain amount of time. Like there are levels where, okay, in order to progress, reach this switch, it will move the platform that you're on onto the next section. And if you fall off the platform, which you can because you need to dodge bullets in a bullet hell level and we have rotational gravity that pulls you to different things, you will never get back on this platform and you have just soft locked yourself. That's just not a
Oh.
good feeling. That like like I would describe that as hard if the game allowed me to try again in the same like life. Like if I could get my way back to the Switch, pull back the platform and try again. But no, because the Switch is on the platform itself. Once it goes, it is just gone, and it has left me behind. And I'm just like, there's no need for that to be like an arbitrary restart now point. Like,
Yeah.
you could either put in a checkpoint or just put the Switch separately from the platform itself, or even just have the platform bounce back and forth instead of moving once and staying there. There's a lot of solutions, and I'm a little peeved that like they chose literally none of them. So if I had played this like when it actually came out in 2015, which is already like past the Xbox Live Arcade era, but is closer to it back when stuff like this was still more in the zeitgeist, I might have been a little bit kinder to it. But as it stands, I just feel like Silk Song released a year ago. Like, and it's not fair making that comparison, but if the game's not being fair, then I'm not either. And like, I just feel like the bar has been raised so many orders of magnitude since this game came out, and since the things that inspired it came out, that even though this is cute and charming, and I wish indie devs all the best, and like hope they made their money back on this, I can't actually recommend this one very much. Like, if you really like Super Meat Boy and can deal with a slow start, and you really like Sea Life, then congratulations, you hyper-specific person, you. This is a game for you. It's on Steam. Go get it. But for everybody else, buyer beware, know what you're getting into. Maybe get it on sale. It is pretty cheap even when it isn't. It's only €5 for me at like full price. But yeah, for me, after like 3 hours, I was sort of reaching a point where like I was still making progress. I wasn't stuck, but I had stopped having fun, and that's not a great sign. So a bit of a mixed bag on this one, unfortunately.
I gotta say that's a deep cut. Speaking of deep cut, Shiver, Fry, and the Big Man, they're back
in POG form.
Well, in Amiibo form, and also in Raiders form, because I have also been playing Splatoon Raiders. This just came out a few days ago.
Yeah, from Octopus to Octoling.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. I should have went. I should have. Yes.
Definitely planned
it. Yes, this is the very first Switch 2 exclusive Splatoon game. This is sort of considered a spin-off from the mainline series. You play as the mechanic. You play as mechanic. You're with Deep Cut, the famous radio stars in the Splatoon world, and you go onto the Safari Islands. Mispronouncing it, I know that. And you crash there. Crash there with them. It is so cool. You start. It's funny. You start off. You effectively create your character. The hairstyles. I got to mention the one hairstyle. Everyone's seen it, but it's sort of like you got locks of composite cables, the red, white, and yellow audio video cables,
which were a big part of my childhood. But the Zoomers in the audience might not know what those are.
Oh my goodness! I mean, I'm showing my age. I remember RF boxes.
Yep.
Used to put in. Yeah, that's going back. So, Yeah, this game is pretty much whereas the previous Splatoon games, you do they were a mix of they did have single player experiences, but they were mostly for the multiplayer for the Splatfest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sort of single player was sort of acted sort of like trials essentially. There was like bosses towards the end, but yeah, it's mostly just it was most of it about splatting. In Splatoon 2, they introduced the Salmonoids, where you go onto raids for yourself and three of your buddies would go down into sort of a shipwreck, and try and destroy as many of the Salmonoids as you can, collect as many eggs as you can, trying to get those into the actual main basket. So they were always fun. It was weird with the Splatoon 2 because that was always time locked, whereas Splatoon 3 they fixed that, and I believe you can go on any time you want.
Mm-hmm.
But this game is mostly it is. There is no competitive multiplayer. This is a single player experience.
Yeah, single and co-op. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is more like sort of I would probably say in akin to something like Diablo or maybe like even Borderlands in a sense where you go around and you're go around certain stages. Go around stages trying to find treasure, because that's what initially they go into for, but until they get swept away by the sea. So yeah, you're going around, you're splatting the Salmonoids that are coming at you. You're trying to get as much treasure. Well, the treasure is sort of the end goal, but you're sort of trying to get bits to sort of construct into your home base. Your home base, you can actually expand your home base. It's sort of like on a docking, like a sea docking station, where you can upgrade your you level up. You can also upgrade your health, your attack, and upgrade your abilities. You actually get you actually in the actual Splatoon games you always have like a side ability. In this game you can actually get you get a type of side ability, and then you can equip two abilities with that. So you've got one for movement, one for strength, and sort of one for tactical. So like for the tactical, you can actually launch like a turret to attack enemies. But you've actually got two gadgets you can use with those. So the one I've got is this primarily used at the moment is the strength one. So that's sort of, you get like a sort of a sweeping ability. You can also get, and I've also, that's on the right bumper, and on the left bumper I've got one you sort of get like a sort of a shield around you. But no, it's really fun. I've been having a blast with this. It can get very tough. Like you got your standard levels. You're sort of like, okay, you get three sort of three sort of crystallized areas that you get a the deep cut characters. They can assist you with the sort of robot, like circle robot. And they'll assist you with assisting attacking the enemies, but also you use those to sort of get into the actual crystal itself to get not abilities, sort of stuff that you stuff you use to craft abilities, crafting materials. That's it. Yeah, crafting materials. And along the way, you'll actually get new weapons. And so like sort of somewhat like a looter shooter in a sense. And so you got three like standard levels, you get three crystallized abilities. And so the biggest one is at the end, that's actually got the treasure inside of it. You can replay those levels, but you've also got ones where they sort of act like they sort of like the original raids. And these ones, like I've just done one where it is just like it's just you're just on one little island, but this summoners that's just coming at you and at you. You have to defeat they drop eggs. You collect the eggs, and you have to collect about like 1,000 eggs in like 90 seconds. And so you have to it's deemed like a level 8.
So many eggs.
That's so many eggs, and
What are you even gonna
Oh,
do with
I
that
don't.
many eggs? Like, I
What?
can't bake that much banana bread.
Well, apparently you need those eggs to actually get into the crystal to power up the robot to get into the crystal. You can also use these eggs to sort of power up your sort of another ability where, depending on the sort of deep cut character you have inside the robot, you get ones that like just launches a big shark at enemies. You'll get ones that like drops down eels. You'll get the big man who just becomes, you just ride the big man and just flatten everybody. Um, but no, like you'll like this level, like you fail it a few times, but every time you'll get up, you'll level up. You may get a new weapon. You just have to go ahead, re-strategize, and get back into it. And it's satisfying being able to like fail a level and then just re-get into it again and just successfully do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. You've also got you'll also get compasses where you gotta it'll direct you go on the map to where you get select a level. It'll direct you. You gotta move your joystick to where it's telling you to go, and then you'll get these little when it defines it. You get these little trials, which will allow you once you complete the trial, you'll actually like be able to like upgrade your health and weapon damage and so for like 1 point. These ones are like okay, you gotta there'll be one like okay, you gotta go through all these rings on a skateboard that goes sorry a surfboard. And like the original Splatoon games, water will kill you. Um, it is so you got those, and then you've also got raids where you've got 3 treasures, but they'll actually you'll unlock each treasure by using different sort of standard ability, like either your your strength, your tactical, or your speed. So it encourages you to not just focus on one, sort of play around because you can upgrade those as well. So you can actually go through. I've just done one. I've just collected. Like I did the first one with the strength easy enough, but then I had to do one. Oh, I got to do it with the actual speed. And it's like that was a really tight one to do, but I got another treasure. And then you can also use those treasures. They'll actually unlock like certain perks. So you get one like you'll you'll lose 10% less of your ink when you're using it. You'll get something like a double jump, those sort of things. You can you tinker around. So it's sort of it's a really game you can sort of it's quick enough, like certain like you can do a quick level, but you can really get into it, really get your teeth into it. And I haven't done any of the multiplayer yet, but you can get into with friends on locally or online, or you can actually call out to get people to help you, which is cool. So if you're having a really tough time with level, you can get you can get randoms to get into you. So yeah, I'm that's what just currently at the playing at the moment. Yeah, it's really good. I also got the amiibo for that. I tell you what, amiibos have gotten so much. Well, they're more expensive now, but with that expense, there's so much more detail compared to the first lot of
Nice
characters.
And I'm glad to hear it's so good because like Splatoon is something I've wanted to get into for a long time, and I've just never really had a good multiplayer opportunity to do it because so far it's been like essentially multiplayer only, and I've just never really because like I don't really like playing with complete randos. I want at least somebody else that I'm actually familiar with there, and that's just never really come together. So now finally having a single player Splatoon experience does make it sound very tempting.
Yes, oh yes, it's just like it is for Switch too. And I gotta say, like the art style, obviously the art style is very similar, higher resolution. But I think it's just the amount of enemies, like that one raid, just the amount of just come at you and at you and at you. I think that's why you need the Switch 2 to play it. So yeah. No, I am really having a fun while doing this. I'm gonna continue going on. Just hitting all those salmonoids. Speaking of hitting stuff, you've been playing some Hitman World of Assassination. Have you gotten many hits?
Well, funny you mention. This is going to be a first in GamePodular history. I'm going to talk about a game I haven't played.
Ooh.
but I have been the gremlin on somebody else's shoulder while they've been playing it. Uh, and it's been great. It's been a lot of fun, honestly. For those not familiar, World of Assassination, Hitman, World of Assassination, that's sort of a retroactive name for it a little bit, because this is the third installment in sort of the modern trilogy of Hitman games, except they also just added the first and second installments into it. Like, it's a package deal, basically.
Mhm.
And there's a lot here, and I've enjoyed pretty much every second of it. Um, if you've never played a Hitman game, and my familiarity with it had been not zero, but like pretty limited and pretty dated until now. Like, I remember very fondly playing a demo for one of the older games way back on the original Xbox, and then basically didn't touch the franchise until now. Except, that one little moment way back in the day where everybody laughed at the trailer with the fist fight against the combat nuns. Hitman's a weird franchise, but what I like about the modern games is they own that weirdness. Like, the parts that need to be taken seriously, they actually take seriously, and everything else they are willing to be silly. We'll get to the silly in a little bit, but yeah, they are essentially puzzle games first and foremost. Like, you always have an objective, which is usually kill X, possibly with a kill Y,
Mhm.
and how you do that, completely up to you. Like, there's no wrong answers in terms of killing them. It's just, can you get away with it? And if you want to go for specific challenges in order to unlock specific things, then you might need to work in certain parameters. But, like, messing it up or going in guns blazing is not a wrong answer. It's just inelegant. But yeah, they are essentially puzzle games to try and figure out what an elegant solution would be to the problem. With, some stealth and a little bit of platforming. Platforming isn't even really the right word. Mostly just stealth and sort of like navigating going into it. Uh, First off, I just gotta say, this is a series that's really good at being really pretty. Like, the lighting is consistently gorgeous, and they pick a lot of locales that are really well suited to it. There's a lot of James Bond influence in the Hitman series, and one thing they thankfully take from the James Bond is the gorgeous cinematography of exotic locales. It's usually fantastic. There's one or two levels that are less so. Like, it'll be pretty at the start, but then you go deeper into, the enemy stronghold, and the deeper you get, the blander it gets. That's a little bit of a shame,
Mhm.
but those are rare exceptions to what is otherwise a pretty consistent rule. This is a gorgeous franchise to look at with a lot of player freedom. Like, the third game, unfortunately, stumbles a bit in this regard, because the third game kind of makes you do levels a certain way the first time around before they open up and you get given a wider set of options.
Mhm.
But the first and the second, you can try anything from the word go. You can unlock things that might make approaches easier. Things like alternate starting positions in the level.
Mhm.
But everything is always fair game, and so there's a lot of replay value in every given level, because yes, you've killed this guy, but have you killed him with an exploding golf ball? No, no, you have not. Yes, you've killed this person, but have you killed them by trapping them in a sauna and turning them into a lobster? No, you have not. Yes, you have killed this person, but have you done it while dressed as a clown? And that's what I mean when I say they are not afraid to get silly with it. And I like it. This isn't just the developers getting a little silly with it. The player character, Agent 47, the world's greatest assassin, actually has a personality beneath his stoic facade. Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't like. It sort of like ebbs and flows. Like it's not always visible. It's sort of little blips on the radar throughout the level, but they are genuinely like it's very fun having a sense of interiority with him now. Like he makes jokes. Well, okay, he makes like a joke per game, but it feels very intentional and like they're actually good. And he just has this wonderfully alien way of dealing with people because a big part of Hitman is disguises. Like you can't just show up looking like an assassin and expect to get away with it. No, you need to impersonate maintenance people, cleaning staff. You need to be a security guard, a IT guy. So there's loads and loads of disguises, and the disguise system works like flawlessly, pretty much. And I like that there's even some depth to it. Like if you are disguise yourself as a maintenance worker, people will not mind you or think you're suspicious, except for the manager of the maintenance workers who knows his staff and will see that like you're not one of my regular guys. What are you doing here? So it's a nice tiered system,
Mhm.
but on a comedy level, what I like about it is 47's disguises are great, but he does not ever change his voice for anything. And he always has the same stoic, deadpan, zero modulation delivery. And there's this moment that very much stuck with me when you're disguising yourself as a real estate agent. You have a target and you're showing him around a house. And the target wants to go to the basement, and that's where you can kill him. But you
Mhm.
can laboriously and excruciatingly make him go through a tour of every room in the house before you go to the basement. And 47 is clearly ad-libbing that entire tour. Like, he hasn't prepared for this. He doesn't know the ins and outs of every room, so he just says what he thinks as he enters it. And what he thinks is what a hitman would think. So you walk into the living room, it's just like, this is the living room. It is the largest in the building and has multiple points of exit and entrance. The dark floors obscure stains easily. Like, he's I love him so much. It like 47 is the perfect straight man to all the silliness that the player and the developers concoct for him. And they play with that a lot. Like every level sort of starts with a scenic little camera movement to bring you into frame. And a lot of it is like stylish or cool or sort of like fits the theme. And then there's one where you start as a clown and it is simultaneously the funniest and most ominous entrance of any level in the game because you like camera's looking at an NPC and you slowly stand up behind them holding a baseball bat. It's like it's, it's like a wrestling match, like really emphasizing the like, oh god, he's not dead yet. Like the energy is wonderful. It really is. And the ways you can kill people are genuinely very creative. Some of it is like very sleek and believably like nobody would ever think this is suspicious or this is suspicious, but they don't know how you did it. Uh, some of it is actually very cathartic, and some of it is just incredibly silly. Sometimes you just kill people by dropping like a giant whale skeleton on them because you're in an aquarium. Like sometimes the disguise you can get into is a suit of medieval armor. Is that stealthy? No. Does it make you bulletproof so you can just run through the level disemboweling people with a battle axe? Yes. Like it's wonderfully unhinged a lot of the time in the gameplay, but also it does that very nice balance of like it can be totally unhinged if you want, but if you want a serious challenge. You need to pay attention, like have good timing and be stealthy. You like that is all there in the same level at the same time, and the only person with control over which one you want to do is you. Like you can opt in or out of either mode at any time.
Mhm.
And you can even be silly and then get away with it if you're good enough at stealth that you actually have a good like exit strategy. It, it it's all there. It all works. In terms of presentation, there is a weird parabolic arc a little bit. Like the levels themselves consistently gorgeous, no complaint there. And in fact, I would say like they generally have very good ideas of what would be a scenic distinctive uh like pitch for a level. The cutscenes are kind of interesting because these three games that are bundled into this one game were all published by different companies. The first Hitman was published by Square Enix, who gave IO Interactive to developers. They gave them a decent budget, so it has pretty good cutscenes, especially for the time, with like really good facial mocap, and it's well done. And then Square Enix said, "No, we're not letting you make a sequel." So IO Interactive went to Warner Brothers, who gave them significantly less of a budget. And so the second game basically doesn't have cutscenes. It has like it has like storyboards with like Ken Burns pans over them, basically.
Oh, okay.
And all the acting is still really good. The writing is still really good. And they stage everything as best. Like the shots they pick are good shots, but it is essentially a slideshow format for the presentation. It
Mhm.
doesn't detract that much from it because like this isn't really like this is a franchise that is defined way more by the levels and the gameplay than by the spectacle of the cutscenes. But it is a if you're playing through the whole thing in one package like this lets you do, it is a strange feeling of a middle chapter that just feels so different from everything that comes before and after. It's like you're watching a Netflix show where like arbitrarily the second season is half the length, and then for the third season we're back to full length again. It's it,
Yep.
it's not a bad thing per se. It's just something to be mindful of. Yes, that is actually how the second game works and looks. Uh, with the third game, they wanted to add some more. They still have like great visuals and great ideas in terms of like what kind of environment are we working with, but they wanted to do. They wanted to try and up the variety a little bit, like break free a little bit of the mold set by the first and second game. So there is a level that does a lot of riffing on the movie Knives Out, which it's not espionage per se the way that like Hitman and James Bond are, but like it's adjacent. It's murder mystery.
Mhm.
So it's a good thing to riff on. Gameplay wise, the first like 90% of that level doesn't really feel like a Hitman level because uh you are investigating somebody else's murder rather than really committing your own. And it, like, as I was saying while we were playing it, because again, I was the gremlin on somebody else's shoulder on this, like,
Mhm.
this has been really fun and really interesting, but it didn't really feel like a Hitman level, which is like that level is a little bit of an outlier, but the third game does get more experimental with that kind of thing, both for better and for worse. In general, like there's some changes in the third game that aren't really that aren't really that great. Like Hitman 1 and 2 give you the tools you need to do what you need to do. The question is just can you do it in the way you want to do it? The third game
Mhm.
introduces ideas like, well, if you want a map of this place, you need to find it before you have it. So every time you play this level, step one is go to this one place where the map is, and then you can figure out what you actually want to do. And
Mhm.
that sort of diminishes the replay value a little bit, because you've just now made it so that every playthrough is a little bit more samey, because there's always that one mandatory step right at the start. It's still like very rewarding, very pretty, and there are still real murder puzzles to figure out, but there's just like some systems and overall design changes that are not crippling, but they do sort of make it so that like the middle installment, Hitman 2, is probably actually like the best one of the bunch. That one's really firing on all cylinders. And like I really want to give like so many anecdotes here of like silly deaths or cool deaths or like I can't believe we got away with that sort of shenanigans. But that would be spoiling some of the best surprises in the game, some of the best. What do you mean I can actually do that? Because like I will say this, if you have a silly idea in this game, but you can't think of a reason it wouldn't work, give it a try. And even if you can't think of a reason why it wouldn't, give it a try anyway, because it probably will work. It just will have like some consequences you weren't entirely prepared for. Like this is this game is like it's it's a domino set that goes like three-dimensional and has like bifurcations and splits in directions you're not looking. And it is always a lot of fun just seeing all of that play out. And importantly, you don't need to finish a level in order to complete a challenge or achievement. So if you pull off something just barely by the skin of your teeth and then you can't quite, exfiltrate, that's fine. That's okay. You'll still unlock whatever that was meant to unlock. So it's quite forgiving in that regard. Like if you want to do the hardest possible challenge that you can think of, it does actually get rather unforgiving. But that is you very much deliberately opting into it.
Mm-hmm.
There is also a big mode that we personally haven't touched very much yet, called Freelancer. That's sort of like side missions, weekly missions, things designed by the player base and sort of picked, like cherry picked by the developers. And also, there are celebrity assassinations. Uh, and like a lot of the people you kill in the game are celebrities in universe, but they're fictional. Here, it's not fictional. It's like, here's a mission to assassinate Lionel Messi, who signed off on this for some reason. And don't get me wrong, it's kind of fun. You get like unique cosmetics and stuff out of it, I guess. And like, I just have a slightly weird feeling of like this is a product for sale that lets you like simulate assassinating real people. Like this feels like this feels like it goes in like an dystopian future novel. I just can't quite decide which one. Like there's something kind of weird about that. But that's an entirely separate mode that you never need to interact with in the game proper. I think that whole idea of the celebrity assassination was inspired by a promotional thing they did for a previous game where you could kill Sean Bean because it's Sean Bean and he dies in everything. Like that was funny and very memorable. So they were like, we should do that with like loads of people. And like I said, feels a little weird, but you go for it. Uh, I genuinely feel like I have missed out by not really engaging with this franchise sooner. It's gone through its ups and downs, but this most recent particular trilogy has just been very solid. And like there aren't a lot of other games really like this, which is something you'll see in the control scheme. The control scheme is admittedly weird and takes a little bit of getting used to because nothing else really controls like it. But it's not a bad scheme. It's just one that takes a bit of warming up and getting used to before you sort of settle into it. But yeah, like I kind of wish I had gotten into Hitman sooner than this because the funny moments are genuinely so funny, and there's a lot of them. I would actually say that, like, by volume, these are mostly comedy games. The only reason they don't really have that reputation is that the, sort of default, like, standard route that you'll probably do first, it tends to be the slightly more serious one. So you'll get an actual story, and it's not a bad story. Like, this is actually a decent, like, this is a good story for people who are new to the franchise, coming into it not really knowing a whole lot, because they catch you up on the bits that matter, tactfully don't mention the bits that don't matter so much and are best left behind. And the silly things from the past that they have to include, they actually kind of find a way to salvage and redeem them. Like, oh, Hitman is a clone from a super soldier program by a evil ex-Nazi scientist, and you think that's such 90s cheese. And here they actually, like, find pathos in it and reflect on, like, what that does to a person and really interrogate it. I was
Mhm.
sort of reminded of how, if you've seen uh Creed and Creed 2, the, like, Michael B. Jordan boxing movies,
Mhm.
I love how the second one of those takes Rocky 4, the objectively silliest Rocky movie ever made, where Ivan Drago, the evil Soviet boxer, punches a man to death, and actually brings back Dolph Lundgren as a serious dramatic character for Creed 2, and you actually feel bad for him, and this character is now, like, a meaningful narrative device. Like, this Hitman trilogy actually achieves something similar to that,
Mhm.
where a very silly story is shaped and molded into something that's actually, like, meaningful and engaging. And this plays into, like, oh, 47 actually has a personality now and has emotions. They're little emotions, but they are there. And I don't think this game would work. I don't think this story would work if he was just, like, a completely, like, blank murder robot. Like,
Mhm.
he needs that tiny little bit of conflict, that tiny little spark of personality he has now. And honestly, I, like, gameplay wise, the third game has some iffy decisions, but it's still good. But on the whole, I would say these are great. Narratively speaking, I think the second game is actually also the strongest. The third one is good, but sort of has it sort of like is more of a wrapping things up than a big climax, in my humble opinion so far. It's I'm just very impressed with the insane amount of effort that has gone into all of this. Like, there, you really get the sense that the developers accounted for every tiny possible interaction and option, and that care, like, it's, I can cite individual examples. And actually, okay, I'll do one to illustrate the point. And the point I'm illustrating is just that, like, they care, they work hard, and it shows. There is a level where there is a moment, there's somebody is playing Dance Dance Revolution. It's legally not Dance
Mhm.
Dance Revolution, but that's what they're like. Clearly, that's what it's meant to be. If you get them out of the room or kill them, you can play Dance Dance Revolution. And Agent 47, being just about the most boogieless human being ever conceived, is obviously terrible at it. However, this happens to be the one level in the game where, if you pick an alternate starting point, you can play as a ninja for this level, which leads to a whole bunch of its own separate, like, unique kills and items and everything. But if you make it to the Dance Dance Revolution mat as a ninja, you get a perfect score. Because, like, it's so good. It, like, I love that they thought of that. I love that tiny little, like, attention to detail. It's so good. So yeah, on the whole, I've genuinely had a very good time with it. And to be clear, even just as a spectator, I've had a great time with it. So this is a great game to watch with people around, especially because of how silly it is. Like, this is a great. I have an idea for a fun night in a Discord call with a bunch of friends kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm genuinely very impressed. I want to get into it myself. I love these weirdos, and I wish them all the best. Like, I I really wish I had some sort of great like signing off pun here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to string it together. Uh, Suffice to say, just yes, I've had a great time. I highly recommend it. Check it out. It's on like most platforms you can think of, and I believe even the you can sort of get like a little taste of it. There is a chapter 1, as they call it, is a separate thing on Steam that's just it's in the Hitman 3 engine, but it is the levels from the first game of the trilogy. So you can sort of get a taste for it, and if you like it, you can get more. At time of recording, that's actually on discount, so get in if that's something you want to do. But yeah, like in stark contrast to Airscape, where it's like this is a mixed bag leaning towards I'm not sure this is great. Here, it's like it's not perfect, but I've had such a good time with it.
Nice. Sounds like I played the wrong comedy game.
Does yours have evil clowns with murder baseball bats?
It wishes.
One day.
All right. One day. And on that note, that's going to do it for this episode of GamePodular Unfocused Podcast. I've been your host, Scott. Thank you, Sesra, for joining me.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we will catch up with you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the GamePodular Unfocused podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps us get noticed. You can also listen and subscribe on other podcast services such as Spotify. Make sure to check our other show, Unfocused. Be sure to join our Discord server to interact with the lively GamePodular community. Follow us on Mastodon, Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch, and at GamePodular.com for updates, news, and other content. Links are in the show notes. If you'd like to support our shows, you can buy us a coffee or become a GamePodular Patreon. The details for both are on our website. This episode was edited by myself, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at ScottyJman. You can follow Seskra at Seskra the Spider at bsky.social, albeit at your own risk. Thanks for listening.